Le prétérit. Le prétérit simple.
Past simple.
Qu'est-ce que le prétérit simple en anglais? Le prétérit simple, aussi appelé passé simple, s'emploie pour parler de faits qui ont eu lieu dans le passé, une fois ou de façon répétée, et qui sont aujourd'hui terminés. Le prétérit marque une rupture par rapport au présent. Le passé simple, appelé également prétérit, est un temps anglais qui permet de parler d'un événement, d'une action passée et terminée ou d'un état qui a eu lieu pendant un laps de temps précis. Quand employer le prétérit simple en anglais? Le prétérit simple est le temps de base du passé en anglais. Il renvoie à un événement complètement terminé, sans rapport avec le présent. De plus, il ne marque pas la durée d'une action, mais le moment auquel elle a eu lieu. On utilise le prétérit simple, si on a
Yesterday. 2 minutes ago. In 1990. The other day. Last Friday. Always. Often. Sometimes. Rarely. Never.
Comment conjuguer les verbes anglais au prétérit simple? Prétérit simple à la forme affirmative. Pour les verbes réguliers. Pour les verbes les plus courants, qu'on appelle verbes réguliers, il suffit d'ajouter ed au verbe pour le mettre au prétérit. Voici la forme sujet, plus, verbe, plus, ed. Exemple.
She finished her homework yesterday. They played football in the park. He washed the car this morning. We visited our grandparents last weekend. I walked to school every day last year.
Pour les verbes irréguliers. Sujet, plus, prétérit. Exemple.
She went to Paris last summer. They ate lunch at noon. He slept for 8 hours last night. We saw a movie yesterday. I bought a new phone yesterday.
Prétérit simple à la forme négative. Pour former la négation au prétérit simple en anglais, à la fois pour les verbes réguliers et irréguliers, sauf le verbe to be, on utilise la structure suivante. Sujet, plus.
Did not, didn't.
Plus base verbale. Exemple.
I didn't work yesterday. You didn't study for the test. She didn't go to the party. They didn't see the movie.
Pour former la forme négative au prétérit simple avec le verbe to be en anglais, voici la structure. Sujet, plus.
Was not, wasn't. Were not, weren't.
Plus, base verbale.
I was not, I wasn't. You were not, you weren't. He, she, it, was not, he, she, it, wasn't. We were not, we weren't. You were not, you weren't. They were not, they weren't.
Exemple.
I was not at home yesterday. He wasn't happy with the result. I was not watching TV. He was not doing his homework. She was not reading a book. It was not raining. He was not sleeping. We weren't in class yesterday. You weren't late for the meeting. They weren't ready for the exam. You were not listening to the teacher. We were not playing soccer. They were not studying for the exam. You were not paying attention. They were not working on the project.
Prétérit simple à la forme interrogative. Pour former la forme interrogative au prétérit simple en anglais, on utilise la structure suivante. Did, plus, sujet, plus, base verbale. Exemple.
Did you work yesterday? Did she finish her homework? Did they go to the beach? Did we see him at the party?
Il est à noter que pour le verbe to be au passé simple, la formation est différente.
Was.
Plus, sujet, pour.
He, she, it. Were.
Plus, sujet, pour.
I, you, we, they.
Exemple.
Was he at home yesterday? Were they late for the meeting?
Prétérit continu. Qu'est-ce que le prétérit continu anglais? Le prétérit continu signale qu'une action est en cours de réalisation à un moment précis du passé. L'accent est mis sur la durée de l'action. Comment conjuguer les verbes anglais au prétérit continu? Voici comment le former. Forme affirmative. Sujet, plus.
Was, were.
Plus, base verbale, plus.
ing.
Exemple.
I was reading a book when you called. He was playing soccer with his friends yesterday. She was cooking dinner for her family last night. It was raining heavily this morning. He was sleeping when the phone rang. We were studying for the exam all night. You were playing basketball with your friends yesterday. They were watching a movie when the power went out. We were walking in the park when it started raining. You were talking on the phone when I arrived.
Forme négative. Sujet, plus.
Was not, wasn't. Were not, weren't.
Plus, base verbale, plus.
ing.
Exemple.
I was not studying when you called. He was not playing video games all day. She was not cooking dinner at that time. It was not raining when we went outside. He was not sleeping during the meeting. We were not watching TV when the guests arrived. You were not listening to the teacher during the lesson. They were not working on the project last night. We were not driving home when the accident happened. You were not practicing the piano yesterday evening.
Forme interrogative.
Was, were.
Plus, sujet, plus, base verbale, plus.
ing.
Exemple.
Was I reading a book when you called? Was he playing soccer with his friends yesterday? Was she cooking dinner for her family last night? Was it raining heavily this morning? Was he sleeping when the phone rang? Were we studying for the exam all night? Were you playing basketball with your friends yesterday? Were they watching a movie when the power went out? Were we walking in the park when it started raining? Were you talking on the phone when I arrived?